Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to go ahead and talk about something new, which is called inverse functions. So, a function that undoes the action of another is called an inverse function. So, when we think about this in a sports type of term, if I wanted to know who wore the Lakers jersey number 23, I could go ahead and take a look at the LA Lakers roster. And I would search for number 23, and then I would go ahead and pair number 3 up with that player, who, of course, is LeBron James. This is the function that we're talking about. However, if I wanted to find the inverse function of this, I would do the same thing in the opposite way. So, for example, in this case, the inverse function would be knowing the player. So I know Anthony Davis plays for the Lakers, but I don't know his number. So I would go ahead and take a look at the roster, and I would find his name this time. And then I would find out that, of course, Anthony Davis is Laker jersey number 3. So this is a real life example of what a inverse function does. It's doing the opposite kind of operation. So there's 3 values of doing this, 3 types of ways to do this algebraically. The first one is very easy, and that's if you happen to have a table of values. So for example, for our original function, we might have this table of values where our first is an ordered pair, -2, -3, then 0, 1, etc. Now, if I wanted to find the inverse function of this table of values, all I would do is go ahead and swap those places. So -2, -3, the x and y are going to swap. So it's going to become the ordered pair -3, -2. My 0, 1 is going to become 1, 0. My 1, 3 is going to become 3, 1. And my 2, 5 is going to be 5, 2. So you can see how this would look differently on a graph as it's a different ordered pair that you're graphing. The second method is a graphing method. And in our graphing method, for example, here's our equation, y equals 2x plus 1. And by the way, this is the same equation that we just saw the ordered pairs from. Our first step is by plotting this actual line on our graph. So of course, we're going to plot our y-intercept of 1, and then we're going to move our slope, rise up 2 and 1 to the right, and we're going to go ahead and find that line. So first, we're going to graph that. Second, we're going to plot y equals x. This is going to have this dotted line here. And basically, it means you're folding your line in half and then in one half the other way. So you're both doing a flip and a reflection like we learned yesterday. So basically what that means is this point right here, which is currently the point 0, 1, is going to turn into the point 1, 0. So you're swapping it just like you did on your table of values. Our second point here is the point 1, 3. So we're going to plot the point 3, 1. Once we have those 2 lines, we can go ahead, those 2 dots, we can connect it and form a line. So this is a visual representation, but we're basically doing the same thing. We're simply looking at those points on the graphed line and then switching those points with your x and y going different ways. Now, of course, we're going to want to bring this up to a higher level of difficulty, which is what the level you guys are at in algebra, and that's to go ahead and solve it algebraically. Once again, we're looking at the same problem we've looked at with the other 2 methods. So first of all, as you can see, it says f of x. So our very first step is to change it to y. So we're simply going to rewrite it as y is equal to 2x plus 1. If it's already written with y is equal to, you're going to leave it alone. Step 2, you're going to physically swap the x and the y's place. So instead of writing y equals 2x plus 1, you're going to write x equals 2y plus 1. Our third step is we're just going to solve for y using the order of operations, making sure that you're doing the same thing to both sides. So we're going to go ahead and start by subtracting 1 from both sides. And that's going to give us x minus 1 is equal to 2y. We're then going to divide everything on both sides by 2. And this is going to let us isolate our y. And we'll kind of switch the side there so our y could be first. So y is equal to x divided by 2 minus 1/2. And this is our final step. We're simply going to replace that y back with f of -1x, which shows that it is the inverse of the previous line. So the inverse of f of x is x divided by 2 minus 1/2. The secret word for the day is gong. Did you just hear my gong going off that I was telling you guys about a couple days ago? I hope that you're all doing well. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.